Good evening, good evening. How is everybody doing today? Welcome to the VRML Pioneer Cup Part 2, the first obviously of many tournaments hosted by VRML. Today we should have an exciting set of games over the course of the next, I believe it's 3 or 4 hours. My name is Martini, and today I have Finto and Velocity in the casting booth with me. How are y'all doing today?
Yeah, I'm doing great. Looking forward to this exciting game.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be nice. New weekend, new start.
Right. I mean, things didn't quite work out with NA, the other one, the previous weekend, unfortunately. But hey, the biggest thing we looked at back at that is just there's so much participation, so much love for people trying to start this game. And unfortunately, we just couldn't handle the scale, I think, at the moment. But hey, we move on, persevere, and learn from our previous lessons, right? And here we are, part 2 with NA. Looks like hopefully things go a lot differently this time around. But hey, things still worked out, right? The OCE and even the EU side of the regions did actually finish out their tournament cups, and they did have, I think, a pretty good showing for what top tier Orion Drift gameplay looks like at this point. But before we kind of get any further, remember some quick rules. This is again going to be 4v4s, kind of experimental, right? This is the first set of tournaments trying out these 4v4 arenas. Things are still very much in development as they figure things out. It'll be a little different, I believe, today. Correct me if anyone, correct me if I'm wrong, guys. It should be best of 3. In a Swiss style bracket, so it'll be a little bit quicker than the first time around, but still that Swiss style. So we'll have a couple rounds, or I say game sets of teams playing against each other. And obviously the idea is every game you win, you get a couple more points, and the idea is you want to be the top 8 by the end of day 1, and hopefully you can move on to day 2 for the playoffs, and that's when it goes into a round robin and single elimination brackets. So a lot more exciting, crazier stuff for those ones. Also want to give a quick shout out to one of my personal favorite sponsors, Another Axiom, for providing us with the game we love, and of course for supporting the upcoming tournaments for VRML. And of course, if you have not already been paying attention, don't forget VRMLCon 2025 has been confirmed for Phoenix, Arizona. So if you'd like to meet us in person, I don't know if y'all are going, I'm going to be going, or join any of the tournaments, head online to the VRMLCon website and make sure to grab your tickets here. But I mean, what did y'all see, I think, so far in competitive gameplay for Orion Drift?
Yeah, well, as you say, it's promising. There's a lot of love, a lot of sign up, a lot of participation, and this is the Pioneer Cup, of course. We're pioneering the scene. It is early days, stuff might go wrong, but a lot of stuff's gone pretty well. So far it looks like we're getting ready to go.
Yeah, ball already out here, quite with the ball in hand, looking for potential passing options. Sends it over to Kiwi. Never mind, it gets picked up by Odin, almost getting into the goal there, but it does get saved, unfortunately, by them as Lock-In, trying their best to lock in and keep this ball going off the ceiling carp here. Dr. Fribble will be moving down the arena, looking for some potential passing options as they carve around the arena.
Yeah, and is this a 2v4, I think? It's going to be difficult for Lock-In. They had a strong start there, though. Now it's over to Subpar. Off of the Halo, he's got teammates in good passing positions. It's Jack who sends it, and he can't quite get the save.
Yeah, that is going to be a good... Whoa, sorry, 1 second here. Something just was weird. 1 second, y'all. As we keep going forward here, looks like they are coming in here. Lock-In does get the goal in. Sorry for the camera there. For some reason, it moved around the arena kind of in a weird fashion here. But we are going to move on and see what's going on here.
So we're looking at 1-1 so far. It looks like Lock-In have the ball, trying to get that clear, trying to get that out of the danger zone towards that logo there, making a good play towards it. 3 defenders in the way. He's over the top, off the ceiling. Teammates in a good position. Good pass off. Can he get the shot? Almost. It's just deflected. Yeah, things didn't quite work out for them here as Lock-In trying their best to keep moving forward here. Do you happen to remember the scores here? I did miss the first couple scores. Is it 1-1? Yeah, we're looking at 1-1 right now.
1-1. That's perfect here as we are going to be going forward here. Looks like they go for the deep pass here over the Quiet as Subpar moving down the arena here. Tries to go for the last one. Does connect to Ode, and they do carve around. And talk about beautiful shot there.
Wow, that was an amazing goal by Subpar. Already 1 minute and 30 minutes in the game. A quick start for quick goals here.
Yeah, looks like a long shot coming in there. That's a great interception coming out there from a Subpar. Their name would lead you to believe it might not look so well, but Subpar is definitely not the performance they're putting out here right now.
Wow.
One of those back-to-backs. Yeah. Sorry, go on, Velocity.
I was about to say, 2 points ahead already, and they do a possession. Go for the long shot. An amazing goal by Subpar. They're already up by 3 points. Wow. They have no breaks, no fear.
Yeah, I will say, I believe it's 2-4 here, right? So it kind of makes sense that things aren't quite working out in their favor. Defense is going to be lacking here as they can't do too much, especially against long shots, which I think by now we know it's not as common in this 4v4 format. But when it's a 4v2, it's going to look a lot different, right?
Yeah, that's for sure. And of course, we are looking at this new 4v4 arena. It's bigger, there's more players, quite different from what you might be used to in normal Orion Drift. But we're seeing a lot of new, interesting things come from this experimental arena, and it's really great to see this all being tested in these VRML call matches. We go straight into another goal for Subpar. I believe that puts them now at 4-1.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, Subpar's doing amazing. I mean, first game here and they're already about 3. I mean, that's just a good league for Subpar.
Yeah, not looking good right now for the lock-in players. I mean, again, being down several players is hard, but the fact that they still got the goal is great. They're trying their best on this defense at this point against 4 different players here, as Bibble able to get the ball out of the arena here and tries to go for the clear, but Quiet is going to be very much behind the ball there, very first one to touch, as they do move down the arena here, going in for it again. Another shot. They take the shot there. That's going to be another one for Subpar.
Well, I just gotta say, I mean, they are balling out here. I mean, they just keep getting these interceptions and steals and just putting that ball in the net.
Yeah, that's a beautiful double pass there by Lockett. And hey, even though they're down several players here, doesn't mean that they can't make some action, as they do somehow still secure another goal here. Now Kiwi in his 1v1 situation does get blocked, but Quiet there for the follow-up here.
That was an amazing rebound from Subpar. I mean, that's just good unselfishness, teammates. I mean, that's just what we love to see from a team.
Yeah, you have to have a lot of respect for Lock-in. Oh, and that's the mercy. But you have to have a lot of respect for Lock-in here. They did find those 2 goals, and they did have a good show, and it was some great passing plays when they did.
Yeah, definitely rough, I think, for Lock-in, right? I mean, you can only do so much when you're down 2 whole players. There's not much action there. And luckily for them, this is a best of 3, so it'll be a little bit quicker, you know, in terms of some of the gameplay here. I think at this point, they're probably biding time, hopefully, to try to get those, at least their maybe in 4 teammates in here at this point. But, I mean, the fact they got 2 to Subpar 7, I think is still commendable, right? 2 goals when you're down half a team is kind of impressive.
Yeah, that's for sure. And you know what? Respect to the 2 players for showing up. At least they could have tapped out. They could have said we're not doing this because our teammates aren't here. But no, they showed up and they're giving it their all. So you know, respect for that.
Yeah, I mean, that's just a team that stood out a lot this first round. They're doing very well. New weekend, so new start. I mean, gotta love it.
And as we kick off into this next round.
Yeah, already going to be round 2 here, starting off with, again, a Lock-in, trying their best to defend against them. They do, unfortunately, have Subpar with the ball slip right through their fingers.
Wow. Game just started, 9 seconds in the round, and there's already a goal. That's a very standing out moment.
Yeah, and I think this is a lot of what we can expect from these early days in the tournament. Of course, we're coming in here with a lot of fresh faces, a lot of people looking to make a name for themselves in this scene. And you can look to expect some teams that, you know, will come up against others and are completely different skill levels. But we still try and figure out where everyone stands, you know, how the scene lies here. And at least it's great to see this kind of participation. I'm sure as time goes on, we will get more defined standings and matchups.
Yeah, looks like they try to send in that goal. Does get picked up by the goalie, unfortunately, but it gets sent all the way into the Subpar goalie area, as it looks like Oak Solution able to get the ball in hand here and able to jump right over both of the Lock-in players. Going in again for that long shot, and we're seeing long shots consistently here. They did miss it, but Jack Front there for the follow-up, able to give Subpar another goal in the hand there.
Wow. I mean, they're doing very well. I mean, Martini, what do you think stands out to you most for Subpar? I mean, they do have the lead here. I mean, that's just amazing start.
Yeah, I think Subpar is just, I mean, consistent gameplay we're seeing against Lock-in right now, which I would hope they would have that, right? Having double the amount of players here. And it's a challenging situation for Lock-in to be in, right? Do you play defense? Do you play offense? Because unfortunately, we have half the team. It's really hard to play both effectively, right? So you kind of have to commit to one side, unfortunately, and that's exactly what has been happening here, as it looks like Lock-in able to get the shot in hand there, somehow making that work out.
Yeah, that was an amazing goal there by Lock-in, as they got their first goal in this second match.
Yeah, well, I mean, just a small drop against the 3 goals that Supper has as we finish off this second minute into the game. 3 minutes left on the clock. It's looking good for them. It looks like Kiwi's just toying with him. He's running that ball around, but they don't have the players to put on the press and to come away from the defense where they can just go for the long shot. Kiwi going in for the goal, though. It's a good pass off to Quiet. Drops that down. A good passing play.
Wow, amazing chemistry there for that team. I mean, good passes stand out to good scores. I mean, it looks like they have really good chemistry and have been practicing a lot as a team.
Yeah, and I think this is something we saw in the EU tournaments, in the OCE tournaments. Something that really separated some of the lower teams from some of the top teams, the winning teams, was those passing plays, that teamwork, that chemistry, almost the telekinesis between these teams. Just know where they're going to be and make a perfect pass off to find those goals.
Yeah, it looks like Roaring River trying to go in off the speed here. Unfortunately, they do get caught out and tackled as Quiet able to get that ball back in hand. Sends it over to Kiwi, and they almost got the shot there, but they just missed the ball there as they go in for the back shot. It does work out for them. Subpar with another goal in hand here. We're getting pretty close to Mercy territory at this point.
Yeah, 2 mercies in a row with... Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, that'd be 1 goal away from Mercy, and that would be it for Lockin. End of the road for this first game. Of course, Swiss Out Tournament, there's other matches for them to play. That will be game. That will be the first one to subpar. First game for them of the day. This is a 7-round Swiss Out Tournament. There's more games for Lockin here today, but, you know, what are they worth? They're only playing with two players. Let's just hope they can get some more in.
Yeah, definitely looking rough right now, I think, for the Lock-in players. Unfortunately, we didn't see too much happen from them here. 7-2, I think 7-1. I hopefully was keeping the track of the scores there correctly. But again, this good thing for them was best of 3. They're done in 2 games versus having to play out 3 games out for best of 5 here. And you're right. I think lock-in is kind of tough. They want to get a couple more players in, but I gotta say that's one of the hard things about having only exactly 4 players on your roster, right? I always recommend you gotta get at least a 5th or 6th in, right? You want to be able to fill out your subs. That's the big problem.
Yeah. And I mean, I've seen some teams in the past though rock the 4 only, and they have brilliant chemistry. But you know, all it takes is 1 player not feeling it that day or just a bit busy, and it's all over for you. So
yeah,
find that balance
for sure here. Looks like we'll be going on a quick break here as we do wait for some upcoming matches. Maybe hop into another one in the middle of the action. We'll see what's going on here, but we'll see y'all just in a bit as we head out. Enjoy the ads. We'll be back not too long, hopefully.
Prepare to
Okay,
start.
Baron left alive. Where is Baron? In the spawn. And somebody's
Go.
Spud in the bottom going absolutely crazy, getting the 2K.
Match point. Prepare to
Okay,
start.
Baron left alive. Where is Baron? In the spawn. And somebody's
Go.
Spud in the bottom going absolutely crazy, getting the 2K.
Match point. Prepare to
Only
start.
Baron left alive. Where is Baron? In the spawn. And somebody's
Go.
Spud in the bottom going absolutely crazy, getting the 2K.
Match point. Prepare to
Only
start.
Baron left alive. Where is Baron? In the spawn. And somebody's
Go.
Spud in the bottom going absolutely crazy, getting the 2K.
Match point. Prepare to
Only
start.
Baron left alive. Where is Baron? In the spawn. And somebody
Go.
Spud in the bottom going absolutely crazy, getting the 2K.
Match point. Prepare to
Only
start.
Baron left alive. Where is Baron? In the spawn. And somebody
Go.
Spud in the bottom going absolutely crazy, getting the 2K.
Match point. Prepare to
Only
start.
Baron left alive. Where is Baron? In the spawn. Can somebody
Go.
Spud in the bottom going absolutely crazy, getting the 2K.
Match point. Prepare to
Only
start.
Baron left alive. Where is Baron? In the spawn. Can somebody
Go.
Spud in the bottom going absolutely crazy, getting the 2K.
Match point. Prepare to
Only
strike.
Baron left alive. Where is Baron? In the spawn. And somebody
Go.
Spud in the bottom going absolutely crazy, getting the 2K.
Match point. Prepare to
Only
strike.
Baron left alive. Where is Baron? In the spawn. And somebody
Go.
Spud in the bottom going absolutely crazy, getting the 2K.
Match point. Prepare to
Only
start.
Baron left alive. Where is Baron? In the spawn. And somebody
Go.
Spud in the bottom going absolutely crazy, getting the 2K.
Match point. Prepare to
Only
start.
Baron left alive. Where is Baron? In the spawn. And somebody
Go.
Spud in the bottom going absolutely crazy, getting the 2K.
Match point.
All right, bring us
crazy.
in. Hello, welcome back. Sorry for the long, intermission there. We are picking up another game here. I believe it's going to be against Astro Assassin Reborn versus Cairo. We were trying to hop around, find the best game in this server here, and this is going to be it. We are going to be hopping right into the matchup, though. I believe it's still round 1. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, I think so.
All right, let's hop right in
so.
to round 1 here. We're going to be having Cairo on the blue side, and we're going to be having Astro Assassin on the red side here. We are unsure of the point difference right now between these two teams, but we'll figure it out, I think, as we go along here. As Green Lion already having the ball in hand, moving it down the arena here. Wide open goal, but they do not see the goalie there as they do pick that one up.
Yeah, and now it's Cairo making a run. Teammates in a good position for passing. Looks like he's going on his own. He just drops that, maybe at a boost. There's a chance. The ball's up in the air. Just loses that to Astro Assassins. Now it's their chance to make a run. It's right for the taking on table. No one's going to quite capitalize on that off yet. Cairo trying to make a push, tackled again. No one can keep possession of this ball.
Yeah, at this point, Cairo trying their best to really hold this one back here as Astro Assassin coming in here for the ball. I love the colors. It's a little too close for my taste, but hey, we'll make it work here. As it looks like they are trying their best right now to keep the ball out. And it looks like, you know, these two teams are fighting for possession at this point, as no one's been able to really get a good goal on either side right now.
Yeah, and that's Astro Assassins trying to get that away from the defense. The goal feels almost open here. Just one player in, just saved by Rogue. Saved, I believe that is the Astro Assassins that got that save. There's another chance here. Good pass off to Gangster Fortnite with a nice wall carve. Ceiling carve, sorry. Ball's ready for the taking. The goal's almost open. You can't quite find that rebound, maybe. But that's just saved by Cairo for now. Or Astro Assassins for now, sorry. Cairo couldn't quite find that.
Yeah, definitely a challenging thing right now. Cairo trying their best to get that ball in here. But credit, honestly, to that Astro Assassin defense. Talk about, I think I saw 2 or 3 shots attempted there, and it just didn't quite work out for them, as it looks like Cairo themselves trying to get the goal in here. But again, at this point, both teams are really struggling to maintain possession and get good shooting opportunities. And I'm kind of curious, do you think there's anything that can happen between these two teams as Zeke does get the ball here? They go in for the shot. Finally, we're going to be seeing a goal come out there. Looks like Cairo can have another point on the board here. Again, we don't know quite how many goals they have here, but we'll figure it out as we go along.
Wow, very, very good ball movement. I mean, the momentum on both of these teams are very well. They're just not letting the opponents get the ball to get the goal while these teams are competing for the ball.
Yeah, that's true. Very contested. It took a while to find that goal, but a good one when they finally got it. Could be another here, but looks like that's time. Not entirely sure who took that first round, but I mean, from what we saw, that was some close gameplay.
For sure here. We only saw the one goal in the end there. I didn't quite see if we did pick up another goal from them earlier, but got to give credit, I think, to what we had seen there. I love the back and forth. Again, we were trying our best to really find a game that had, I think, 4v4. Because, you know, I think we were originally going to pick up a game. It was a 2v2. And I'm like, I don't mind doing a 2v2, but I want to give the viewers a little bit better of a show there. And I think I got to give credit to the Astro Assassin and Cairo. I think they gave us a pretty solid showing there so far.
Yeah, I think that might have been the third round, actually. These players may have all left the arena. Oh, of course, you know, as we say, this is the Pioneer Cup. Things can go wrong. We're starting things off difficult, to be honest. But of course, there's a lot more to come. We have the Ignition Cup coming up soon. You know, if you want to get your team involved in that, get in the Discord, find out about that. That's May 31st to June 1st. That is going to have $1,000 cash prize. The Ignition Cup. And then, of course, we have the Phoenix Invitational. Tell us a bit about that, Martini.
Yeah, so the Phoenix Invitational is going to be coming up in, I believe, 2 weeks, correct me, around 2 weekends, maybe even 3. So definitely coming around the corner. Very similar, I believe, in terms of the prize pool. It's about 1,000. I believe it's also going to be probably a couple different regions now that we've already done that. And I say with that hesitance there because we still have to confirm with the tournament, you know, runners and everything that they are going to be doing that sort of thing. But the way I look at it, it should be similar style to this cup. I would be shocked if it was very, very different. Oh wait, Phoenix Invitational. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, sorry, that's the
sorry.
Ignition Cup
I was thinking about
yeah.
Ignition Cup. I am
so many exciting things.
Sorry, yeah, so many tournaments, right? It's hard to keep track of what game is going on here. But anyways, Phoenix Invitational, VRML Con, in other words. Basically, they're going to be opening up qualifiers for that. And for the teams that do qualify and move on, I believe it's going to be top 4, top 8 for Orion Drift. They'll be able to go in and compete live on stage between the last day. Sunday is dedicated just to the Orion Drift games. And we'll get to see all that happening live there. It'll definitely be exciting. We'll be having casters live showcasing that and being able to watch these players, top tier players, right, play live themselves here. And I always think that, you know, looking at these big events and these tournaments, these are some of the best players you'll be seeing in the world for these sort of games. And Orion Drift, right, it's definitely be a pretty big, I think, competitive community. There's so many players already hopping in and learning Orion Drift, and the competitive scene is only going to be growing from this point forward. So it'll be exciting to see what kind of players come out there, what kind of teams come out of those. And I think it'll be fun because hopefully, you know, fingers crossed, we get a season not too long after the VRML Con, right? I know that's not confirmed yet. This is just me speculating, but I would be shocked if they didn't decide to do some sort of league structure within the next year or two after VRML Con, right? And because the biggest thing that everyone keeps talking about is these tournaments, VRML Con 2. These are a big way to test the Orion Drift competitive scene, see how it looks. And we're doing it still, right? We're seeing things like 4v4, how it develops. These arenas are all still in development. So it'll be exciting to see what more developments come out of all this and seeing what the comp arena potentially looks like by VRML Con, right?
Yeah, and I mean, we're already seeing it shape up. It's quite different from the 3v3. We're
very
seeing teams
different.
take advantage, of these more players, playing things a bit different from what we've seen in the past, very different, as you say. And of course, experimental, things still getting worked on, shaped up, changes to be made for the future. So it's exciting to see how we're going to see this shape into an arena we can all look forward to playing comp games on.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what is going to be happening here, but I know we just came in for one round, y'all. I'm so sorry. Things are just, we're trying to figure out which games are going on and try to get y'all the best viewing opportunity here. Unfortunately, we could only get the one round, and not even the full round. It was like a half round or something like that. But we'll be back. We'll be back very soon. Don't wait too long. We'll be trying to pick up
stream A and C.
Yeah, there's also the main stream. We have B here, then C. Always, I think just hop between the stream, see what's kind of live. I think, the way to look at it is do it like you're watching a couple different games going on ESPN or whatever. You want to hop between different shows, see which one has the best game going on at that moment, right? And unfortunately, we'll be signing out for, a good couple minutes, 5-10 minutes. But we'll be back pretty soon for the next set of games. It'll be, I believe, set 3, game 3 or match 3 coming up pretty soon here. So looks like map 2 are match 2. Sorry, there's so many. We were just talking about this in the pre-show lobby with us. We're just like, what's the naming for all these? We have rounds, games, matches, whatever. We definitely got to figure out a standardized way to talk about Orion Drift matchups, right? But anyways, I'm not gonna talk too long. I already been talking, but we'll be back in not too long. We'll see y'all in just a bit.
Prepare to
Only
start.
Baron left alive. Where is Baron? In the spawn. And somebody's
Go.
Spud in the bottom going absolutely crazy, getting the 2K.
Match point. Prepare to
Only
start.
Baron left alive. Where is Baron? In the spawn. And somebody
Go.
Spud in the bottom going absolutely crazy, getting the 2-way.
Match point. Prepare to
Only
start.
Baron left alive. Where is Baron? In the spawn. And somebody
Go.
Spud in the bottom going absolutely crazy, getting the 2-way.
Match point. Prepare to
Only
strike.
Baron left alive. Where is Baron? In the spawn. And somebody
Go.
Spud in the bottom going absolutely crazy, getting the 2K.
Match point. Prepare to
Only
strike.
Baron left alive. Where is Baron? In the spawn. And somebody
Go.
Spud in the bottom going absolutely crazy, getting the 2K.
Match point. Prepare to
Only
start.
Baron left alive. Where is Baron? In the spawn. And somebody
Go.
Spud in the bottom going absolutely crazy, getting the 2K.
Match point. Prepare to
Only
start.
Baron left alive. Where is Baron? In the spawn. And somebody
Go.
Spud in the bottom going absolutely crazy, getting the 2K.
Match point. Prepare to
See
start.
Baron left alive. Where is Baron? In the spawn. And somebody
Go.
Spud in the bottom going absolutely crazy, getting the 2K.
Match point. Prepare to
See
start.
Baron left alive. Where is Baron? In the spawn. And somebody
Go.
Spud in the bottom going absolutely crazy, getting the 2K.
Match point. Prepare to
Only
start.
Baron left alive. Where is Baron? In the spawn. And somebody
Go.
Spud in the bottom going absolutely crazy, getting the 2K.
Match point. Prepare to
Only
start.
Baron left alive. Where is Baron? In the spawn. And somebody
Go.
Spud in the bottom going absolutely crazy, getting the 2K.
Match point.
All right, welcome back. Welcome back. Hopefully y'all are doing good. We did finally pick up a game. It's gonna be a 3v4 between a Lock-In and Big Backs. That's a love that name here, as they're already getting started here now on a round one here. That is we're jumping right into the action at this point.
Yeah, Lock-In, a team we saw a bit of earlier on. They only had 2 players earlier. They put up a valiant effort in the first round. Now they're back with 4, and it looks like they're ready to go for a fight instantly. Sending that long shot, sends that far up. Walter takes it. It's Lock-In on the red side here, defending the red side. Pretty convenient there, and keeping good possession for now. It's Walter.
Yeah, looks like Water moving down the arena here. Takes the long shot there. I think
Oh, there we
somebody
go.
out of position, as Big Backs unfortunately did not see that ball go right in there. But they're going to be happy there on the Lock-In side.
Yeah, that's a confident way to kick things off against Big Backs here, especially after a not so great first and second round for Lock-In. That is how you want to be playing, at least starting off. Let's see how things go as we continue.
Yeah, looks like they're going to be moving down the arena here. It's Ezra taking a long shot there again. Looks like that 3v4 is going to give them a lot of a problem here, as they keep missing out on those long shots here.
Yeah, and those long shots, really brutal. Something you have to be really careful of, because all it takes is that quick moment when that other team realizes, oh, the goal is open, and if they have the good aim for it, then they can just fling that ball across and find a free goal, which seems Lock-in keeps going for here. Chasing that down, it's Ezra, though. Trying to go for another open goal. He's taking it. It's up in the air, right for the taking. He's sending it. Just gets that away. That's just clear. And switches over now. That could be a long shot. Turn it around if he can get the rebound. But Locked-in is going to keep that. Lock-in is going to keep that out for now.
Yeah, looks like Big Bag's trying their best to really make this a goal-scoring opportunity to happen here. Tall dude trying to go in for the shot, does miss it. Roaring River going in, sends it deep in over. Doesn't quite connect with water, unfortunately, but it looks like he does get picked up by Rainsy here as they try to go in for a deep clear. Does get into Rainsy's hands still, but these tackles are happening left and right now as Tall dude able to still make it a recovery here as they send it back, but they do get tackled, unfortunately, by the lock-in players, and definitely all-out mayhem right now in the midfield as no one can really maintain position for too long right now.
Yeah, and those tackles are coming in. Lock-in is really keeping the pressure on, not giving Big Bags any chance to make any space, which is difficult, especially when you don't have those same kind of numbers to pass off to. It's almost another good long shot, just intercepted. Rainsy tries to get that clear. Looks like it's going to be back in the hands of Big Bags. They try and send that. Just kept safe, though, in the hands of Rainsy.
Yeah, Rainsy able to keep the ball in hand. Looks like they are going to be picking up some speed going around the arena here. As they do maintain possession for as long as they possibly can, looking for some potential passing options. Sends it deep, does get into the hands of Odin there. That's going to be great, but it does unfortunately fall just shy of their hand. And going for the long shot again. They're coming out there from Roaring River. And, you know, Lock-in, looking very, I think we actually did cast them, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. I believe the first cast, and looking night and day, right?
Yeah. It looks like those extra 2 players made a big difference for them. Of course, they came into that first game with only 2 players, and it was a good fight they tried to put up, but obviously double mercy, not much you can do when you've only got half the players. But now here they go. Long shot to long shot, back to back on the rebound. That puts them 4 rounds up with 2 minutes left on the clock. They are looking like a whole different team here.
Yeah, Lock-in, maybe it was literally just that team number difference. We talked about a 2v4. I don't know. Unless you're very highly skilled, there's not really much you can do because of the huge difference in terms of team numbers there. Rainsy going in for the deep pass over to their potential player, but it does get picked up by Fibble Wibble. There's again another long shot going in here, but Rainsy takes the leech, does somehow go for a beautiful save there.
Yeah, another one coming in. They're just keeping this clear for now. Rainsy, a nice ceiling carve to put the cherry on top of that. Excellent defense work, an absolute masterclass from Rainsy. And just a nice little bit of solo defense there. Can he convert it into a goal, though? He's going in all on his own. Sends it. Almost gets it in, but his own teammates on Lock-in. Knocked that in. What a turnaround from Rainsy, though.
I mean, talk about determination, right? You had, I think, a 1v3, 1v4 at that moment. Most people, I would say, maybe not take that shot, but they still made that work. And Big Bags finally a goal on the board here. That's going to be a big deal right now because the momentum is so slow against Lock-in. But they, unfortunately, are able to respond almost immediately. And that's a 5v1 right now for Lock-in. It's looking really good right now for Lock-in, but again, Big Bags is unfortunately not looking too big as they only have, you know, the 3v4 right now.
Yeah, and as you're saying, it does come down to a lot of these numbers, and it really shows once you reach these higher levels, these more comp levels, it becomes a lot less about what you can do as a solo player and how you can pass off to your team and how you can make it work as a team. You see this Lock-in team, you'll see even Big Bags try and do it even when they only have the 3 players. There's a lot of passing that comes in, a lot of teamwork at pass, you know, already coming in there.
And that's the game.
And when stuff like that just can't connect, and you don't have that same kind of fluidity as the team does, you can hand off that game like Big Bags have done to Lock-in here. Lock-in takes that first one.
Yeah, Lock-in looking very, very different than their first game, right? Their 4th player, I gotta say, good chemistry here, right? Lock-in doing such a good job at really moving the ball down the arena and forcing Big Bags into bad opportunities. I think Big Bags tried their best, right? They only had 3v4. They still got the 1 goal in the end there, but obviously that point difference showcases it's hard. It's still hard to play with that 1 player down, you know, in a 4v3 situation, right?
Yeah, it definitely is, and you know, Lock-in had to put up with it. They've turned the tables now. It is unfortunate for Big Bags. They had a great goal there from Rainsy with a nice double save, turning it all the way around on his own into a nice goal. You know, things like that are great, but if you can't keep that ball rolling, if you can't find more, then yeah, it looks good for Lock-in.
Yeah, I mean, not much they can do, but Big Bags at this point are trying their best to really showcase. They can try their best here to prevent things from happening that much further here. Looks like they already have the ball in hand right now for Lock-in. Tries to send it for the pass. Does connect. Able to send it back over to Water. Goes in for the shot. Unfortunately, that's a beautiful goalie there as they came in.
Yeah, Rainsy put in some great work with goals. Oh my goodness, he's going to be disappointed with that one. Oh, just trying to run that back, get that reset. After Rainsy sends it clear, he feels like it's safe in his hands. He just lets it slip, and that's a goal. The first goal of this round for Big Bags.
Yeah, already off to, I think this is the first time they had a lead right now against Lock-in. Again, they are down a player, so definitely trying their best here. Water able to get the ball in hand here as Pibble sends it again to another passing opportunity. Roaring takes a shot there, and that's going to be a good one. Unfortunately, that goalie could not keep it out of the goal here, but right now, we're even between these two teams here.
Yeah, and when you've got those fluid plays, those quick passes, even when on the ground, when you don't have that third dimension of air, you know, up in the sky still, those quick, short passes just keep Big Bags on their toes and let them create those gaps, which Lock-in finds to score goals.
Yeah, another long shot going in there. Is he going to be able to slide in? No, it just goes a little too left, but it doesn't matter as Lock-in able to come in and clean that one up here. I think that's the biggest thing I'm going to notice between these two teams, right? Big Bags is just struggling to really hold that back line there. But again, they're down a player, so they either have to decide to go a little more defensive and kind of almost sacrifice one of their players, or do they just play more conservative, right?
Yeah. And it is that trade-off. Even when you have 4 players, you have to be making these kind of decisions. Do you want to put a heavy attack on, or do you want to keep things nice and safe at the back? And sometimes, you know, even at the highest level, there we go, another one for Lock-in. Even at the highest level in the EU tournaments and OCE, we saw some of these teams try and go for a really aggressive setup. You know, all 4 players up front, and all it took is one long shot, one breakthrough to forfeit quite a few goals.
Yeah, I think it's just hard to figure out what to do with your backline when you're down a whole different player here. They're trying their best, I think, to still play both offensively and defensively pretty solid here. But it's just looking a little rough right now, as it looks like, again, those long shots have just, not long shots, but just open goals have just been giving them such a hard time here, as the Lock-in unfortunately not able to do too much here as they do move down the arena.
Yeah, and you know what? Big Bags have been playing great when they have, and I'd love to see a bit more of this team when they have all 4 players blessing the server here, but just not showing up for that today. And you know what? Fair play to them, to the 3 that still showed up, put in that effort, and have scored, you know, even if just two pretty good goals. But it's not enough to keep things going. And some great saves, just like that. Yeah, but when you've got all 4 players with great passing like that from Lock-in, what can you do?
Yeah, Lock-in is definitely locked in at this point. Definitely no mercy coming out from them. But hey, it's a tournament, right? You're not going to really give much mercy to the other team, regardless of the amount of players on the other side. Rainsy trying to go in for a passing option. Does get intercepted here and gets tackled. Looks like Dribble Wibble again taking that long shot here. And that's going to be another long shot coming out here from Lock-in. You know, I mean, what do you think at this point? I feel like almost half of the goals are probably long shots. I'm almost tempted to say, why not just park someone in the back and maybe your offense just has to do more heavy lifting, right?
Yeah, it does seem a bit counterintuitive. Obviously, I feel like you've got to get that pattern recognition and realize, yeah, we're losing all of these goals to the long shots. We should make things a bit more heavy on the back here, you know. But I guess they're just not coming up with that idea, Big Back. So they've got some greater plan at work. Either way, something's not quite going right for them.
Yeah, things just not quite connecting here. Looks like Warren River, though, able to get the ball in hand. Trying to send it, but it does just fall a little short. It doesn't matter as it slides right in for the Lock-in players, and that is going to be them winning out the series 2-0 for Lock-in for this game. And, you know, talk about Lock-in, right? Night and day between what we had seen in Game 1 and I think Game 3 now. Looking really good right now. 5-1, 7-1. So they definitely did a lot better on that second there, getting that mercy in the end. That's my only biggest thing, right? I know they're down a player. Don't get me wrong. I'm giving Big Bag still their credit. But I think even when you're down a player, you got to make adjustments, you know, in the middle of your games and kind of obviously keep that mental up. I think the biggest adjustment is just kind of being mindful of some of those really big open opportunities that Lock-in had. Again, I want to say more than half of their shots were probably long shots.
Yeah, I think you're probably right in saying that. And you know what? A lot of this in the game comes down just not what you've practiced, not your great teamwork. sometimes a lot of it can come down to that pattern recognition and adjusting on the spot in these games, like, you know, Big Bags could have been doing there. You know, on the contrary, it looks like Lock-in did do that, though. In the first game, they might have realized, oh yeah, we're getting these long shots, they're going well for us. And then into the second game, we were seeing even more of those, and you know, that is a bit of that adjusting your strategy, this time the other way around from what we're talking about. Just to go for these long shots, to capitalize on that weakness and take a win out of it.
Yeah, no, definitely looked great right now, I think, for the Lock-in players. And we'll have to see how it goes for the upcoming rounds here. But that is going to be it for our Game 3 cast here. So we'll be going to ads pretty soon here. We'll see y'all hopefully in not too long. Hey, we finally got in a full cast, and it wasn't a 2v4, right? It wasn't a 2v4. And you know, it's funny, me and Pinto were in the lobby. We're like, hey, literally, if you have a 4v4, we will cast you in this server right now. Anyone who has a 4v4 will cast you, because I don't care how much of a blowout it is. I want a 4v4. Yeah, because think about it, it's been 3 games we haven't had a 4v4. So definitely, I think one of the things, you know, besides the skill levels that we're seeing in these games, is sometimes the hardest thing is just showing up to tournament day with a full team, right? And that's why we talked about earlier. Sometimes what's important is having those subs, because maybe those 4 players aren't always available, so having those subs as backups definitely gonna be a big deal here. But thanks again for watching us. We'll be back for the upcoming game 4, right? Did I say that right? Game 4
Yeah.
will be coming up pretty soon here, so hopefully things won't be too long, but we'll be right back.
Prepare to
Only
start.
Baron left alive. Where is Baron? In the spawn. Can somebody reinforce?
Go.
Spud in the bottom going absolutely crazy, getting the 2K.
Match point. Prepare to
Only
start.
Baron left alive. Where is Baron? In the spawn. Can somebody reinforce?
Go.
Spud in the bottom going absolutely crazy, getting the 2
Match point. Prepare to
Only
start.
Baron left alive. Where is Baron? In the spawn. Can somebody reinforce?
Go.
Spud in the bottom going absolutely crazy, getting the 2
Match point. Prepare to
Only
start.
Baron left alive. Where is Baron? In the spawn. Can somebody reinforce?
Go.
Spud in the bottom going absolutely crazy, getting the 2K.
Match point. Prepare to
Only
start.
Baron left alive. Where is Baron? In the spawn. Can somebody reinforce?
Go.
Spud in the bottom going absolutely crazy, getting the 2K.
Match point. Prepare to
Okay,
start.
Baron left alive. Where is Baron? In the spawn. Can somebody reinforce?
Go.
Spud in the bottom going absolutely crazy, getting the 2K.
Match point. Prepare to
Okay,
start.
Baron left alive. Where is Baron? In the spawn. Can somebody reinforce?
Go.
Spud in the bottom going absolutely crazy, getting the 2K.
Match point. Prepare to
Only
start.
Baron left alive. Where is Baron? In the spawn. And somebody reinforced.
Go.
Spud in the bottom going absolutely crazy, getting the 2K.
Match point.
Welcome back. We did find another game. I think this will be our first 4v4 cast today. Shaco D versus the Rhinos. I mean, Finto, we tried so hard to find this. But how are you feeling about these matchups?
Yeah.
How are you feeling about finally getting a 4v4 started here?
Well, you know what? Even though it's been a bit difficult, we've had some interesting games. We've had a bit of gameplay we've got to watch. But I'm looking forward to finally having, yeah, as you say, our first 4v4 on the B stream of the night. It's been a bit slow starting. Some action, some down moments, but it looks like we're finally ready to get into things. And it's the Rhinos going on the attack here with that lighter colored name, defending the blue side. And the ball's up in the air. Dynamic's going to recover that. He's got teammates in good positions for passing. Gets it in the air. And it looks like they're just going to get that clear. Just safe for now.
Yeah, it looks like Shaco D trying their best to really keep the ball out of the arena here, but it doesn't matter. Random trying to keep the ball going forward. They are able to get possession, but man, these tackles are coming in left and right. They still are able to come and get their hand on it, but it does unfortunately go the ways of Shaco D as they are now moving down the arena themselves. Looks like Alfredo going in, takes a shot there, and that's going to be a great start right here for Shaco D.
There we go. 1 minute in, 1 point on the board. A confident way to start, although it was a bit difficult to start. Already kicking it off strong though. It's Dynamic. Dyer tries to go in, passes it off, gets intercepted by a player from Shock. Goal, just one player setting in. It's almost a save. But that's a second one on the board. Back to back. Only 10 seconds in between for Shaco D.
I mean, check this out here. Shaco D, so much momentum. They're already coming in here hot. 2 goals off. It's only about a minute in the round right here. Looks like they go in for the deep. A pass there does get intercepted, but it doesn't matter. Alfredo to get their hand. Never mind, that's a pass to Alfredo here as they are moving down the arena. They take the shot. It does go a little wide there. I'm not sure if that was a pass, but it doesn't quite work out the way they want. And again, we're going to be seeing a lot of possession turnover here as they go back and forth. Mac coming in now on the 2 players, sends it over to their teammate, but it does go just a little bit wide. That miscommunication coming out here as CBH coming in now.
Yeah, and he's in a good position, tries to run it across, just gets tackled, ball's ripe for the take. It looks like Shock's going to get that clear, chasing onto that, and they might have an open goal here. Sprinting back as random CBH going for the interception. He drops the ball. A good chance missed there. They might have another one here, though. He goes in all on his own. Teammates not in a great position to pass. He loses that as he goes up for the jump. Yeah, now it's running over to the other side. Maybe a chance for Rhinos here, but Shaco D playing a great possession game here. They lose it, but they have great recovery. Going in for another goal, up in the air, drops it down to the teammate Alfredo off the corner, and that is third on the ball, on the board for Shaco D.
Yeah, I mean, Rhinos trying their best right now, I think, to really keep possession and make something happen here, but they just have not been able to hold the ball for too long. It keeps getting intercepted by one of these players here as Blank tries to take the shot there. Goes a little too wide, unfortunately, but CBH able to recover the ball and keep the possession still very much in play, but these tackles have been coming out from this defense. Check it out. Rexy all coming in here. Rexy all 4 trying to send it over to their teammates pretty soon here. Does get tackled. And that's going to be a good defensive play right now coming out from the Rhinos finally.
Yeah, and they're playing this pretty good here, though, on the Shaco D side. Every time the Rhinos get possession, we might see a bit more of it now. They lose it so quickly. A great aggression game from Shaco D, and they keep that pressure, and they keep things moving. Wait for those gaps. Keep pushing in towards those gaps.
Yep.
Find goals like that.
Yeah, looking good right now for Shaco D for sure. I mean, what are you thinking though? Rhinos have been struggling to get any shot on board. Is it them lacking in terms of offense? Is it them lacking in terms of defense? Or do you think maybe it's a mix of the both?
I mean, maybe a mix of the both, as you say. They're struggling a lot with the possession game. You know, as we're seeing right here, every time they seem to get it, they lose it quite quickly. Great tackles from Shaco D, of course, but the Rhinos not so accurate with their passing, not so accurate with their movement. There we go, finally one on the board. I mean, I guess that's Caster's curse coming in, right? Wouldn't be
It's always, yeah. It's always, you know, when you talk something, or it's almost like the teams can hear you, and they almost want to spite you, right? Alfredo looks like they're already trying to respond now from the Shaco D players, as they are able to get the ball in possession. Does get intercepted, though, by Blank, I believe, and it looks like it's still very much in play.
Yeah. See, there we go, losing possession. Just again, it's very difficult to keep a hold of possession, especially with these tackling mechanics and the accurate passes that need to come in for fluid gameplay that we're seeing from Shaco D. Of course, you know, they might make it look easy, but it is definitely not. Shaco D are doing a great job of executing that here today.
Yeah, Shaco D trying the best to keep the ball very much on the Rhino side here. A lot of tackling coming out here. It looks like we are going to be seeing random goes down. The Sewer tries to take in potentially a 1v4. I think they're trying to go for the pass. Does connect to Blank. Can they capitalize off of this? No, they can. Looks like they were going for the reset here off of Ness, but it does get tackled out of their hands. Alfredo sends it down for the spike, and unfortunately that is not going to work out for the Rhinos. That's going to be giving Shaco D their first win here in this series. Again, this is a best of 3, so they only need to win a second round here to really win out the series. But what do we see, right? 4-1. Shaco D looked like they're doing so well. I'm gonna be honest, I thought the point difference might have been bigger, but I'm kind of shocked that it still came down to a 4-1.
Yeah, and you know, maybe struggling a bit there from the Rhinos, but they did put in a valiant effort. They did keep that aggression on, you know, on their own side. And of course, there wasn't a lot of possession from either team. It was very back and forth. You know, with those tackles always coming in. But I think Shaco D just had the edge there in those quick passes, in those attacking plays when it really came down to it in the moment. Yeah, they just had a slight advantage on the execution of those attacks and found them those points to win that first round.
Yeah, Shaco D off to a good start here. Yeah. Already won a round in the pocket here against the Rhinos. You know, Rhinos got to do something different here to really shake things up. I am happy, though, that we did finally get our first 4v4 cast today, right? Tomorrow will be a lot better, right? A lot more teams in playoffs will probably be a lot more structured, and things will look a lot different for them, as it looks like the Rhinos able to get that defense working out here. They're going for the D, but clear here, as Shaco D did not have a successful attack, unfortunately, there.
Yeah, no one quite to receive, though, when they go for those clears, and they're good clears. They get that away. They get it out of the danger zone right in front of the goal, but they just don't quite have the positioning. They don't quite have a player ready to receive that ball, ready to make a play of their own, convert that great defensive play, and it might be something here. It could be a defining factor for the Rhinos that might be their downfall.
Yeah, they try their best to really keep that ball out of here, but the Rhinos have been doing, honestly, a lot better job, I think, this time around in terms of defense, right?
Yeah.
We're about a full minute into this round. No one scored yet, and that's a lot of credit to the Rhinos. I'm not sure if they just took a breather. You know, maybe they're just warming up for that first round, right? But definitely looking a lot better this time around. But that shot does almost go in, but it somehow just misses.
Yeah, it looks like it bounced right out of the goal there. Must have been off the side there. A close one for sure. Rhinos just keeping things alive. They're keeping great defense here, and almost. Oh, that is one of those annoying goals. Those slow burners. Those 1 kilometer an hour goals that just annoy you. You think you got it saved, but no, not quite. Shaco D first one on the scoreboard for them.
Yeah, I think nothing that hurts more than when you see a goal that just slips in just so slowly, just ever so slowly, right? And it's always definitely heartbreaking. Looks like that passing opportunity, though, does get shut down. I think I saw 3 or 4 players diving in on that, so definitely a very heavily contested ball here as Alfredo does come in, tries to send a shot. They do miss it, but it doesn't matter. Ooh. They get the follow-up. I'm almost inclined to say maybe that was a backboard self-pass.
Yeah. That's a good one. Of course, you can have great teamwork, but sometimes you just need those solo plays to come in. You just need to help yourself to a nice solo goal. Yeah, that can make all the difference and just be quite stylish every now and again. And oh no, that is upsetting. See that go off the corner.
Yeah, I don't think they were expecting that long shot. I was watching one of the players. They were barely getting back to sight there. And
Yeah.
just didn't. I don't think they quite clicked for them, right? You got to be yelling like, hey, shot, 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 so they can turn around and try to block it. Because I think that was definitely a blockable long shot, right? It wasn't like it was too far out of the reach.
Yeah, yeah.
It just ended up actually, I think, slipping right past them.
Yeah, that's one of that's an upsetting goal to watch go by. That's for sure. And, you know, I'm taking notice here. I feel like on the Rhinos side, they always have 4 players chasing down that ball. Like, they're there again. They didn't have a player back. They have these players. They could have these positions. But instead, they're going for quite an aggressive play on the ball. They're always wanting to try and hold on to possession. And you can really see it when you've got about all 4 of them diving onto that ball as soon as they lose possession.
Yeah, I will say, I noticed, I think the teams that tend to be a little more successful in this 44 format tend to have at least someone, you know, roughly around in that back line area, right? At least like someone in that area that they can kind of either reset to and or can catch those stray balls or even those deep clears that kind of happen, right? Sometimes teams are very, I think, haphazard with some of their clears. It allows that team to get that back line to really push up, get possession, and possession is a big deal in this game, right? You know, if we think about games like soccer and stuff, having possession on the ball gives you that much more time to have shooting opportunities, and sometimes it really does just come down to who had better possession, better shooting opportunities to really capitalize and win things out, right? You don't always need to have the craziest play. Sometimes possession is a big deal here, as we see Shaco D again getting another goal in hand. And you know, they're one of those teams, they have good possession here. We've seen them on the ball so many times.
Yeah, and they're keeping a good hold of it, and it is about waiting for those opportunities, biding your time, getting a good read on the enemy team, and understanding when's a good time to go for goal, just like there, and find that mercy, and that is going to be the win to Shaco D in this 4th round, this fourth match. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, we are now going to be going to the 5th set of matches here, but for this current game, Shaco D versus the Rhinos, one of our first 4v4s here, but 4-1, 6-0. I mean, talk about just all-around good showcase from these Shaco D players, right? We were talking about what's the difference that we'd seen in these two teams. I think one of the biggest things is being able to get that possession and capitalize on it. I think a Rhino, several times, I'd seen them either going for clears that were kind of haphazard. They kind of almost sent it directly to one of the Shaco D players. Or Shaco D was able to just really capitalize on the fact that sometimes the Rhinos was too far forward. They didn't have anyone, you know, watching that back, and that sometimes put them out a little too out of position, right? If you're gonna play an aggressive sort of style for game, you got to make sure that your team is all aware of that, and they're able to get back to the goal in order to prevent some of those open goals, right?
Yeah. You know, I know we're talking about NA now, but I can tell you from watching those top teams in the EU scene, when it came down to those finals and even the semi-finals, something that really splits apart some good teams from the very, very top teams was that possession game and was that position game that we might not have quite seen from a Rhinos there. You know, I was speaking to you earlier outside of the cast about Ivy and the team that went on to win at the EU scene. They had a brilliant player, Wee Laddie, who was always ready at the back to receive those long shots that might have caused a lot of problems, that might have given them a chance even for the rebounds if they'd missed the long shots. But no, Wee Laddie was always there to get the rebound, to get that reset and give Ivy another chance. And yeah, it's these seems like small differences, but at the end of the day, it adds up and can make the difference between an alright team and the best team.
Yeah, we'll say like teams are definitely still adjusting, right? We've had, I think, the 3v3 format for a long time. You know, in terms of closed early access and open early access. Now, a lot of these teams are used to that 3v3 format, which is very different, right, in how you play some of these teams. You still have those rotations, you know, for those defensive backlines and everything, but it's different now when you have a 4th player that can very easily play something like on mound or even further back if they need to consistently pick up those goals. Because to your point, I saw that same game. I saw someone on that back line around mound consistently be able to read the ball. Because the thing too, they're reading the ball well and able to kind of predict, hey, they're probably going to clear this way or the ball is going to go this way. That way they can, again, maximize possession, because when that backline person is able to get that ball, maximize possession, they can basically just keep driving, you know, the attempts on goal there time and time again until eventually they score, right? It's hard when that backline keeps getting the ball and basically, you know, you try to clear it and then next thing you know, the team's attacking you again. That's hard for the defense to keep recovering from time and time again.
Yeah. It does make a difference. It does make a big difference. Yeah.
for sure here. But anyways, that'll be it for the game 4 here. We'll be going into game 5. I think we were talking earlier, it goes up to game 7 games today, I believe. So that is going to be the end of game 4. We'll be going into game 5 pretty soon here, as the teams are going to be cleaning up their leftover matches here, but hopefully won't be too long of a wait. I am happy now. I feel like we're consistently getting our matches back here. The casts are not as long in between, you know, each game here. So hopefully the cast isn't too much of a waiting game for y'all here. But we'll be back pretty soon here, as we'll be taking a quick ad break.
Prepare to
Only
start.
Baron left alive. Where is Baron? In the spawn. Can somebody
Go.
Spud in the bottom going absolutely crazy, getting the 2K.
Match point. Prepare to
Okay,
start.
Baron left alive. Where is Baron? In the spawn. Can somebody
Go.
Spud in the bottom going absolutely crazy, getting the 2K.
Match point. Prepare to
Okay,
start.
Baron left alive. Where is Baron? In the spawn. Can somebody
Go.
Spud in the bottom going absolutely crazy, getting the 2K.
Match point. Prepare to
Only
start.
Baron left alive. Where is Baron? In the spawn. And somebody reinforced.
Go.
Spud in the bottom going absolutely crazy, getting the 2K.
Match point. Prepare to
Only
start.
Baron left alive. Where is Baron? In the spawn. And somebody reinforced.
Go.
Spud in the bottom going absolutely crazy, getting the 2K.
Match point. Prepare to
Only
start.
Baron left alive. Where is Baron? In the spawn. And somebody reinforced.
Go.
Spud in the bottom going absolutely crazy, getting the 2K.
Match point.
Oh my goodness, here we go. Game 5 here. We'll be having the letter G versus Control here. As we'll be starting into a round 1 pretty soon here. Looks like on the blue side we'll have Control and G as it's already starting ahead here. Right into the round, Pinto.
Yeah, and another 4v4. Glad to see it. I'm looking forward to see how this one shaped up. You know, the last one was a bit one-sided. We did see a Mercy in the second one, kicking things off though with a nice long shot. No one on the back to cover that up. That's a first goal on the board for Control. A strong start from then. I'm looking forward to see how this game shapes
The
up.
arena revs up again.
Yeah, that was a long, slow shot. I thought somebody would have been able to pick that up, but it didn't quite work out for them there. Smato able to get the assist there and takes a shot, already responding here. This might be a good game, honestly, already.
Yeah.
You know, 2 goals in total, 1-1 for both teams, and it's only 30 seconds into the round here.
And we're back.
Yeah, and it was some smooth passing there from the G team to find that goal for them. I want to see how Control handles some more teamwork though, rather than just a long shot. It's a great chance, just intercepted. That's going to be sent for the long shot of their own. As G almost getting that. Will he make it back in time? Yes, just saved for now.
Yeah, that was about to slip right in, but that's not going to work out as they try to clear that, and it goes into the hands of the G player here. Unfortunately, they couldn't capitalize off of that, and it looks like they'll be getting that pass moving down the arena here. The Dragon able to get the reception there. Almost takes a beautiful shot. Does, unfortunately, clip onto some geometry there, as it does not work out for them here. But it looks like they keep trying to clear the ball here, and it keeps hitting something. But hey, they are working great energy here. Oh, that's a beautiful reception, and talk about beautiful assist and a goal follow-up.
Yeah, and that's 2 on the board for Control. This is shaping up to be a good game. 2-1, 3 minutes 25 on the clock. Yeah, this is exciting.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what's going to happen here. Smato able to get the ball. Doesn't do much with it, unfortunately, as they could not get a good hand on that belly. Just really holding the possession here. Sends it over to their teammate Lala. They go in for another pass over to the Dragon. Talk about a beautiful passing situation. No, they don't see the defender there, and they do get tackled, and that's going to be going into the hands of the G players here. And that was such a beautiful play that just didn't quite pan out. And that's one of those moments where you got to give those call-outs to your teammates, right? Because I think they could have done something if they'd known they were about to be tackled.
Yeah, maybe another quick pass off. I mean, that's the whole point of this passing, is to keep the defenders on the toes, keep them so that even if they come in for the tackle, that ball is already long gone and ready to be shot. They couldn't quite find that. They find that this time, though, and find a third on the board for Control. A strong play there. Good passes to find a nice goal.
You know, Control has definitely been ramping up, and I gotta say, the passing opportunities from both of these teams have been quite immaculate, right? I've seen so many good setups and movement down the arena here as they try to finish it up there. They couldn't. G, unfortunately, does not do well. And talk about that beautiful defense coming out from the Control players, or CTRL, I think. Did they go by Control?
Oh, and wow, what a pass off. He was just sitting on that backboard, tapped it down, redirected that shot, and find a fourth for Control. And I do believe they go by Control, and they are putting on some high quality gameplay today from both teams. As G gets a second on the board. We still have 2 minutes on the clock, and we've got 6 goals this game already, and it's not a one-sided game. Well, not from what I'm seeing at the moment.
Ball's in play.
You're right. It's definitely a good back and forth between these two teams. I'm loving the energy here, and I'm loving that it feels a lot more closer than some of the other matchups we'd seen here. It looks like they did, unfortunately, get tackled there as they couldn't quite get around the defender, and that was a beautiful tackle. They tried to go for the long shot here. They got to be careful, honestly, with some of these long shot attempts that aren't working out, but it doesn't matter. Smato able to follow that one up here, and G looking very much in form right now. 3v4. This game's heating up. We might be getting an equalizer pretty soon.
Yeah, they're 1 point away from equalizing this game and forcing that overtime. 1 minute left on the clock. Is good defense work to keep it alive. Dwagon recovers that, goes for a nice ceiling carve. He drops the ball. He's got a minute to try and lock in one more goal that could seal the fate, but it's G having another chance to run a good long shot. Pass up, intercepted. Swad ready to go for that. Sends it in, almost the long shot. Good save by Lala. That's safe for now with 40 seconds to go.
I mean, talk about beautiful reading, right, from the defense on CTRL. Lala read that like a book. They saw they're going to go for it. They dragged it out. They take the shot there. It doesn't quite connect, unfortunately, as it does get blocked by the G player here. But it's still very much in the advantage right now for the CTRL players, as they do have the 1 point up here. And they do have possession for the most part on the side of G, but it does get cleared for the Control players.
And they've got 20 seconds to try and find that last goal before Control can just spike that down, finish the game, lock that in 4-3 and take that first one. And that could be the nail in the coffin if they can find that goal. Time's running down, 8 seconds left on the clock. It's not looking great, and that is going to be time. The first game to Control. Hard fought, well won. Close game though.
You know, so close. I was hoping we could see an equalizer, maybe see an OT in the end there, but Control did their best to really maximize possession on the other side. And I gotta say, a lot of good back and forth between both of these teams. We saw, I think, honestly, one of the best passing plays we've seen in general for our set of casts, at least. I mean, G and Control, I think, had some great passing plays that got them down the arena there and able to really capitalize and get a goal from that, right? We've seen that a couple of times there. I'm almost excited to see what are we gonna be seeing, you know, in these upcoming rounds here. Potentially, this might be our first round 3 game.
Yeah, I mean, that could be exciting. Of course, it's not just the great passing plays, those great goals that win rounds. It's the brilliant defending that we're seeing from these teams as well. I'm looking forward to seeing some more as we go into the second round. But yeah, great stuff from both teams. A high quality match shaping up to be exciting.
Hold on to your heart balls,
I'm definitely loving what we're seeing here. Definitely seeing what they're cooking up here, as Control already having possession here. Almost taking the shot there. They do not make it here, but it doesn't matter. They're there for the follow-up here. And again, this is what we're talking about in terms of possession. Even if they miss, they're still able to get their ball you know, back in their hands and able to really capitalize here. Belly flop taking the shot over the nest here. Does connect with Dwagon, as Dwagon looking around, sends it for, no, they don't. They get tackled there. That's going to be a great defensive play by the G players.
Yeah, but they're keeping this pressure on. They keep regaining that possession, as you say, keeping that in their hands. They might finally lose it here. Titan, almost finally getting that away. It was a good chance for Control. Maybe another one. Lala with a good tackle. He sends that up. No one quite to receive. Not yet. Titan takes that. Just batting it back and forth in the red side here. It's still danger zone for the G team right now, unless they can get this properly clear and start pressing Control and their defense. Looks like it's finally time for them to do that, unless Lala can do something here.
Yeah, Lala able to get the ball in hand, moves off a halo here, trying to move it down the arena. Dodges one of the defenders. That's a beautiful juke there as they are still, again, moving down the arena. Can they capitalize off of this? No! They had a beautiful start there, but it just got shut down, unfortunately, by those defenders as they couldn't get their teammates to really sync up there in the end, unfortunately. But it doesn't matter. Lala coming back again. And talk about beautiful ball control, I got to say, from the control player.
Yeah, and that's a minute and a half. Quite a while to score the first goal for these two teams. You know, we saw a high-scoring game in the last one. This one seems to be going a bit slower. I find it quite interesting to see how these teams, you know, they're not constantly rushing the ball. They're not looking to instantly regain that possession, not just brutally tackling back and forth in the middle. No, they're biding their time. They're waiting for chances like that when the gap opens and they can take good goals. Yeah. And that is even 1-1, 3 minutes left on the clock.
Yeah, these teams are definitely cooking up here. I'm loving to see that G isn't taking this line down. They are definitely responding here. I mean, you see players like Lala. I definitely got to call Lala as a standout player in terms of ball control. Right, they take the shot there, Dragon.
Here we go.
Able to really finish that one up here, and that is just again beautiful, beautiful plays here. I gotta say.
Ball's in play.
I know, and they're just amazing to watch. As you say, beautiful plays. Watching them, it is just amazing. It's not something I'd be even close to capable of doing in this game. They make it look like nothing though. Like anyone could do this. Of course, this is high-level stuff we're seeing here. These great passing plays. There's almost telekinetic teamwork. Yeah, how they instantly are able to just easily pass it off, know where their teammates are going to be. Yeah, it's a great game to be watching.
For sure here. Looks like Control trying to really maximize this possession as they do try to get it back, but the G players definitely keeping it on their side here. Looks like a ceiling car coming out here from Belly Flops going around. And again, credit, I can definitely tell these are good teams, right? We're seeing great ball control. We're seeing great movement mechanics by both of these teams here. Belly Flop able to really work around those two defenders, but they do tackle in the end. No, they still have the ball in hand.
Oh.
Talk about beautiful juke at this point.
Oh, no. Oh, he's keeping it alive, though. Yeah, off to Dwagon. They're playing a good possession game here. Every time it looks like they've lost, every time it looks like they've messed up, it is right back in their hands before you even realize. Almost a good goal there, just deflected, just away. Racketser, though, he takes that. Nice carve round. Another great save. This is a brilliant back and forth here. It looks like G are finally going to get that clear and a bit more safe for them.
Yeah, as it looks like they try to take the 1v1. They got tackled in the end there by Navy. And Navy moving it down the arena. No, they aren't. Rocketeer able to keep tackling, keep ball possession at this point off of the nest area as they are dancing around. Sends over the Dwagon here. Can they capitalize? They can't. And talk about an assist gone wrong, man. I thought they were so close there.
Yeah. And as you said, they're playing a great possession game here. They're keeping the pressure on. They're playing it amazingly. Great passes back and forth. And every time it looks like the ball's gone, they find it, they get it back in their hands until they find moments like that. And I guess that's what the possession game is all about. It's not just constant pressure, constantly shooting again. It's about waiting for those chances where you know it's going to work, where you know it's going to go well, and find goals like that. And that is a confident possession for Control. As I say that, G find one more needed for them on the board to even this up. We could see an overtime here.
Yeah, definitely working out right now for the Control players, but it's only a 1 point difference, 20, I think, seconds left in the round. It's coming down in the clock here. We got to see something coming out here from the G player. Sends it over to the Titan here. Can Titan keep moving forward? They try to go in for the shot. They got tackled, and it looks like they're trying their best to keep it here, but the Control players, unfortunately, have control of the ball here, and that's going to be going the way of Control. I mean, 3 and 2. But again, these are close matchups. I was almost cheering, you know, to see if G can get that last goal, force this into a round 3, unfortunately. But I mean, look at the point difference here: 4 and 3, 3 and 2 for Control here. It's definitely a tight game, and I think if it just been another day, it might have looked a little bit differently, right? Because it was so close in terms of that matchup.
Yeah, and you could really see for both of these teams, it was a high level of gameplay. You know, looking back at some of these clips, it's perfect passing. It's great movement, great ball control from both of these teams, and obviously excellent defending. That second game, a bit lower scoring throughout most of it up until closer to the end. Just brilliant defending and then some brilliant goals. Yeah, just amazing gameplay to watch, honestly, how fluid it is. between
Yeah.
these players.
They did such a good job, both of these teams. And we can see that definitely in the scoreline, right? We
Yeah,
saw so many
wow.
times beautiful passing plays, beautiful execution, beautiful shots here, beautiful mechanics in terms of ball control and juking. I'm pulling up the replays here, and it looks just so
wow.
clean from both of these teams. I'm loving, what we're seeing here. And this is why I love tournaments, right? We're seeing top tier. We're seeing the best of Orion Drift, really.
Yeah, I mean, it almost looks like one person is controlling all 4 of those players and orchestrating, these beautiful goals, the beautiful defending, the amazing passes. Yeah, exciting stuff to watch. Of course, if you want to see the very highest level where it's all going to come down tomorrow, that's going to be the top 8 teams from today. Starting at the same time going on, we will have those streams running again for the top 8 teams competing, to take home the prize.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what teams are developed tomorrow, right? Because that's going to be, technically, if you think about it, the top 8 NA teams, right? We've seen the top 8 EU, I think top 4 for OCE, and then we'll be seeing the top 8 for NA. So I'm excited to see what the top teams in each region, really looks like here, because that's what most of these tournaments really showcase and develop here. But to your point, right, we'll be seeing the top 8 move on. So reminder to y'all, where today is the Swiss bracket, right? So these teams are basically all playing, I believe, about 7 matches in total. The idea is they get points for every win they get, and the idea is whoever gets the most points and places against the top 8 will then get to move on to tomorrow. And tomorrow's going to be, I believe, the round robin and knockout matches until we get to the grand finals for the Pioneer Cup here. So it'll be exciting to see what games develop and what teams end up being the best of the best and come out and show out tomorrow. But unfortunately, that'll be it right now for this set of matches. We'll be seeing, I believe, match 6 coming up or 5. One of those matches, I forgot. I'm losing count at this point. We've been casting
6,
for like
I believe.
6.
Maybe. Well, yeah.
We're going in 3 hours at this point for the cast. I'm losing count. I'm not even gonna lie. So 5, 6. Yeah, these next set of matches coming up pretty soon here. So we'll hopefully not be too long. We'll wait, as these teams are going to be finishing up pretty soon here. But
6.
6. Awesome. We'll be going into match 6. Only I believe one more after that. So we'll be back pretty soon here. Pretty hopefully not too long. But we'll see y'all just in a bit.
Prepare to
Hey,
start.
Baron left alive. Where is Baron? In the spawn. Can somebody reinforce?
Go.
Spud in the bottom going absolutely crazy, getting the 2K.
Match point. Prepare to
Hey,
start.
Baron left alive. Where is Baron? In the spawn. Can somebody reinforce?
Go.
Spud in the bottom going absolutely crazy, getting the 2K.
Match point. Prepare to
Only
start.
Baron left alive. Where is Baron? In the spawn. Can somebody
Go.
Spud in the bottom going absolutely crazy, getting the 2K.
Match point. Prepare to
Only
start.
Baron left alive. Where is Baron? In the spawn. Can somebody
Go.
Spud in the bottom going absolutely crazy, getting the 2K.
Match point. Prepare to
Okay,
start.
Baron left alive. Where is Baron? In the spawn. Can somebody
Go.
Spud in the bottom going absolutely crazy, getting the 2K.
Match point. Prepare to
Okay,
start.
Baron left alive. Where is Baron? In the spawn. Can somebody
Go.
Spud in the bottom going absolutely crazy, getting the 2K.
Match point. Prepare to
Only
start.
Baron left alive. Where is Baron? In the spawn. Can somebody
Go.
Spud in the bottom going absolutely crazy, getting the 2K.
Match point. Prepare to
Only
start.
Baron left alive. Where is Baron? In the spawn. Can somebody
Go.
Spud in the bottom going absolutely crazy, getting the 2K.
Match point.
Only Baron left alive. Where is Baron? In the spawn. Can somebody reinforce?
Go.
Spud in the bottom going absolutely crazy, getting the 2K.
Match point.
Oh my goodness, welcome back. Looks like we'll be having the Scrap Runners versus Interstellar OD in this matchup here. We'll be hopping right into the game as it's already starting here, Finto.
Yeah, and that's Interstellar over on the purple side in a good position now, maybe already ready to shoot. Up on the bridge, they can't quite get that, tackled by Axon. Sorry, Axon. Sorry, I'm trying to figure out the teams here. It's a bit weird, the colors and the floor. I believe that is a goal for Interstellar OD. Yes. The Scrap Runners defending that red side, Interstellar OD defending that blue, I believe. Sorry, I'm getting a bit confused here. Give me a hand, Martini.
The team color is definitely looking kind of funky here, but hey, we'll work with it. As again, remember, this is 4v4. This is the test arenas. We're still very much in development here, but hey, we move on and persevere. Looks like already 1 point on the board right here from the Interstellar players. Try to move it down from their goal here, but it doesn't matter. Scrap Runners trying to respond, and it is all out mayhem in this middle area right now as Agent does get around the other player, gets a little ceiling carve here as they are going to be playing off a nest now.
It's a good pass off. They're in a good position to go for the shot here, just getting that clear. They're going to want to regain possession or reset for defense before the Scrap Runners come in for the attack here. A good intercept from Shake the Dice. He's in a good position to run that back up the field. Teammate runs up. He's got a Scrap Runners player on him. It's a good pass off to Axton. He almost goes for the shot, just loses that in the air. It's anyone's ball now.
Yeah, looks like Pebble's able to get the ball in hand, moving it down, and now the arena here. Scrap Runners trying to finally respond to that attempt on the goal here. Does send it over to Ganja Flux. They do receive the ball. They can't capitalize, though, as it does fall just short of their possession here. And it looks like that's going to be a long shot there, but it doesn't quite work out for them as Interstellar OD unfortunately went a little too wide on that shot here. And it's back in their goal arena now as both teams again are fighting for the ball here. And you know, this is what we're seeing already about 2 minutes into the round here. Only one goal in hand, and these teams are really struggling, I think, to maintain possession and get good goal scoring opportunities here.
Yeah, and that's 2 minutes gone already. If Interstellar OD can just, you know, keep a hold of that, or at least keep them away for now. They're in a good position at the moment. Of course, though, with those 3 minutes on the board, there's something ready to happen. It looks like Scrap Runners are trying to make it happen. Almost go for the shot. There's a good defense from Interstellar. They go for it. Another great save from Gilby Kermit, and he's going to get that just safe for now.
It looks like Agent T able to get the ball in hand, moving it now down the arena here. Interstellar OD finally trying to get a second chance here. Sends it over the passing option. Does get intercepted by the defenders here. And Scrap Runners now having a great run here. Now in a 1v1. Can they capitalize? Yes, they can. And that's finally going to be a goal coming out from these Scrap Runners players, equalizing this 1-1 score right now.
Yeah, as we pass just about half-time, that is a nice place to be equalized. As we said, this is a low-scoring game. We're not seeing much happening. Neither team can maintain much possession at the moment. It's Gilby Kermit taking it over to the table. Anyone's ball. It's Scrap Runners now trying to fly up, but another tackle comes in quickly, and it's turned around pretty quickly again. No one's ball at the moment. No one can find any space. No one can make too many attempts on the goal yet.
Yeah, I know. They're going so much back and forth at this point. It's kind of hard to make a call out on who's doing what at this moment. But Peanut tries to go in for the 1v4. You know, one of those moments you got to take a breather, take a step back, and probably go in for passing options instead. It's kind of hard to get some of those 1v4s as it does get picked up by Kermit there. And that's a beautiful goalie save, but it doesn't matter as it looks like we're already going to be seeing a response back from these Scrap Runners. And, you know, this is what we're talking about in terms of maintaining possession, right? Even when people try to go for the clears, possession is such a big deal here.
Yeah. And of course, I want to point out, Gilby Kermit on that back there, sitting in goal. He's putting in some great defensive work. A good few, 2 or 3 saves now. Yeah, I mean, sometimes it is those goalies that are the backbones of those teams that keep things alive. Almost finds another save there. It just misses the goal. Axon ready to make another attempt to run that up the court, up the pitch.
Yeah, they do try to send it back, and that clear does get picked up by Peanut already. And you got to be careful, right, as we talked about with some of these clears. You don't have lackadaisical clears that do get picked up by the other enemy team, because the problem is they're just going to come back and try to score on you again here as the ball is just flying in the air. And, you know, this is almost a night and day, right, between what we'd seen in our previous matchup and his current matchup, right? Ball control is looking a little bit different from the previous team here, but they are trying their best to keep the ball very much in play.
20 seconds left on the clock. I mean, I guess that when you get that ball control just finally and you have a chance, you make it work. And that's Scrap Runners 2-1 now. 15 seconds left to go. I don't think there's much Interstellar can do here unless they do something absolutely magical.
Yeah, the Interstellar trying to capitalize. Remember, this is the team that actually had a good start here, and I thought they're going to be able to win this one out in the end. But Scrap Runner is able to come back and make things look a little bit differently for them as they finally did get that goal towards the end after that equalizer. And, you know, 2-1, such a close matchup between these two teams here. What did you see in that previous round?
Yeah, I mean, compared to the last game we watched or some of the other ones we've seen, these teams are struggling to hold on to that possession. You know, there's a lot of back and forth, a lot of tackling, a lot of just knocking the ball about and seeing who can get to it first. Still, though, some great moments coming in. Like, that goal there is perfectly placed. When you finally do get that ball and you can't hold on to that possession, a great, well-placed shot like that clearly made all the difference. Because it was a low-scoring game, but when those goals came in, they were crucial, they were important, made the difference, and just got the Scrap Runners that victory.
Yeah, I mean, they barely inched out, right? A single point difference here, 2-1 for Scrap Runners. But again, this is best of 3, right? They just need one more win, and they win out the series. And hopefully we'll be able to see the standings on who placed, you know, in the top 8 for today. But looks like we'll be running right in to round 2 here.
Of course, this will be our last match of the day. We will not be having a 7th. It will just be this 6th. And so the top 8 place teams, from today's Swiss-style tournaments will go on to the round-robin semi-finals and finals taking place tomorrow.
Yeah, it looks like they try to move that ball down the arena. It does get tackled, though, from one of the defenders here as Interstellar trying again to clear it. And they got to be careful, as we talked about earlier, on clearing too uncarefully, as it somehow gets picked up by Kermit.
Another save there.
Yes, I mean, beautiful goalie attempt there. They missed it again, and just not enough. And you got to be careful, right? Scrap Runners able to still capitalize. I think it was, 1, 2, maybe even 3 goal attempts there. That was definitely took a lot of times, but third time's a charm, right?
Yeah, and I mean, sometimes taking the shot isn't the end of the attack. It's about having that positioning for the rebound, about being ready to stop them in their tracks when they try and turn things around. And yeah, Scrap Runners did it well there to finally find that goal after a few bounces off the wall and a couple missed possessions.
Yeah, it looks like the ball is going to be getting into the hand of a Ganja Flux there, just barely, as they send that deep pass. Goes back to Ness here, gets picked up by Peanut, and I think a little bit of miscommunication, though, as both teammates, I think, tried to pick that up, and unfortunately did kind of lose them a little bit of possession there, as it does keep flying out all over the place right now. Interstellar OD trying their best to get the ball out of there. Scrap Runners is just trying their best to scrap together some kind of goals here, but it didn't quite work out for them. But again, look at this. Scrap Runners able to keep possession on the enemy side here. Can they go for the shot? No, they missed it. And it's so close, close here.
Yeah, and there's some great shots on the goal, some great chances, some great passes off that just don't quite come through. And they just don't quite have that control. And there we go, though, a quick turnaround. I guess that's what happens when you put all your effort forward, all 4 players chipping away at that goal, trying to find those moments. When things turn around pretty quickly, you are in a difficult situation with no one back to save shots like that.
Yeah, Interstellar OD finally responding. I mean, it took about, what, two minutes, I think, before they finally got the goal back themselves here. Probably the longest stretch of time we've seen between these two teams here, as Peanut trying to get the jukes around the enemy team here, but Shake very much on the back of them. Somehow the possession, again, still pretty much in play there, as Scrap Runners takes that shot there. And I mean, 2-1. Scrap Runners definitely very happy about where the scoreline is right now. But Interstellar, they got it in them. They can do this. They just need to be a little careful about some of their engagements.
Of course, this is the scoreline that we saw the last game end on, and we still have quite a lot of time left on the clock. Things are clearly a bit different this game than the last one, so there's still quite a bit of a chance for Interstellar to win this and take that and push it into this 3rd round.
Yeah, Gibby on the back there, able to get the ball and trying to move it down to their potential passing options. Oh no, it gets picked up by the Scrap Runners, and that's going to be unfortunate for them. They might have been very much demoralized by that, as they did not move after that shot.
Yeah. You got to be disappointed with that. You're trying to hold on to the possession, just trying to keep things safe, just trying to take a bit of your time, and they come out of absolutely nowhere, turn that around, and ruin what seems like the safest moment they've had all of this game.
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing I'm seeing right now between these two teams, the Scrap Runners, is just maintaining possession for such a long time. They always have a hand on the goal there. And look at that, another one in the pocket. Scrap Runners now up another goal here. 4-1. It's looking scarier and scarier right now for Interstellar OD. We're getting to a moment, where it's almost mathematical time, right? Do they have enough time to be able to get enough goals to equalize this and maybe force an OT?
I think they'd have to be perfect now, like get a goal now and run a perfect game. I think mathematically that will be it, locked in for the Scrap Runners now. A minute on the clock, 20 seconds for each goal.
Yeah, it's just a little challenging right now, I think, for the Interstellar OD, right? I think they had such a good round one. Things didn't quite work out for them, and I thought they could have been able to do something here, but I think that momentum coming out from Scrap Runners, just time and time again able to get those goals in, and it's just hard. It's hard when this team is so good at maximizing that possession, right? And this is what we kept talking about so many times. Like, you don't want to feel like you're just being, hit time and time again by the same team.
The same, yeah. And we've been saying all day about the importance of this possession. We keep seeing it appear in all the games we're watching. It makes me interested, right? Of course, we're looking at a tournament that's pretty new, pretty fresh, and a game that's pretty new, pretty fresh. I'm interested to see how these tactics shape up and what we'll see from the top teams in North America, and what separates them from the normal ones. What kind of tactics they're using, and what makes that difference. And I think from what we've seen today, possession could be a major factor in that.
Yeah, I mean, these last two matchups we've seen, right, there's a good amount of possession plays that happen time and time again.
Yeah.
I think it really does come down to that backline being so good in terms of their game sense. Time and time again, they had those backline players that could just read where the ball is going to be going consistently. And when they're able to get the ball every single time when you try to clear it out, and the fact that they're able to turn it around and try to score on you again, you basically are handing them, right, 4 or 5 goal scoring opportunities. And the idea is at a certain level, having 4 or 5 goal scoring opportunities, you're bound to get one of those in, right? And that gives them just a couple more goals here. And I think that morale definitely was hard for the Scrap Runners, right? Once they started losing more and more goals, it just became sorry, the Scrapper Interstellar OD. It became challenging to come back, right? That 2-1. It was such a tight first game. I was hoping we would see maybe up to a round 3 here, but I mean 4-1. That's definitely challenging for Interstellar.
Yeah, and it's a shame that is the last round today, which is probably not a confident way to end things. But yeah, of course we do have tomorrow. If you really want to see the true ending of these tactics, of what we're actually going to see the top teams using tomorrow, the teams that actually perform the best today, the kind of tactics they're using, how they're playing, that's all going to be happening in tomorrow's round robin, semifinals, and finals. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I'm excited. We had a great cast today. It was about 3.5 hours of just streaming, right, Pinto? So again, thanks for hopping on with me, man, and really, working it out.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure
till the
casting
very end here. But that will be it for us today, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. So thanks again for coming out and watching the VRML Pioneer Cup, at least for day 1. Day 2 will be back again tomorrow and going into those later playoff matches and hopefully some great games, right? This will be the top 8 teams moving on for day 2. So we appreciate seeing you all here today. And of course, remember to subscribe and leave a like. It's greatly appreciated. Hopefully, we can see y'all in the next cast.